Hello, and welcome once again to the Caden and Eric Show. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever you decide to listen to this. But welcome to the show. Hopefully you enjoyed last week's show when I interviewed my brother. He used to live in Finland for a couple years on his church service mission, so I got his perspective on everything that's going on over there, you know, with the Ukraine-Russia war. So that's the previous episode. So if you missed it, go back and listen to it. It's fantastic just to listen to his perspective and the perspective of the Finnish. So I was talking to him a little bit after. If you have listened to it, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, shame on you. You should go back and listen to it. But, we were talking about how everyone in Finland is required to serve in their military, and we couldn't really find out how long. It was about a year, I think, was what we kind of came up with. But their population is about 5 million people. So that's less than the whole DFW area here, which is just insane. That's just crazy to me. So no wonder they were worried about Putin and Russia and everything like that. So it was a really fantastic interview. So if you would like to listen to it, it is the previous episode to this. Episode 42. Jackie Robinson number, by the way. If you're a baseball fan, you know what that means. So anyway, yeah, it was a great opportunity. I really liked interviewing my brother and hearing his perspective on things. But the new week, new episode, all kinds of stuff to get to this week. Thank you to everybody who listens, and of course, any new listeners. It's grateful that you guys are here. So thank you and welcome to the show. If you like this, there are also my Facebook, X, TikTok, True Social, and YouTube channels, the Caden and Eric Show on all of those. And you can see some other content and other stories and other things that, quite frankly, I just don't have time to get to on this show. There's just so much to get to. Even like looking over my show prep for this episode here, it's just like I don't know if I'm going to get to all what I want to talk about here. But it is leap day. It's leap year. So happy 29th of February. So those that are born on this day, happy birthday. It is your birthday for you, or however, if you're 16, you're really 4, that kind of weird, fun stuff that if you're born on leap day, then you kind of have a birthday every 4 years. So congratulations to you. So let's get into some of this stuff here. Like always, we always start with sports. Spring training is in full swing. The Astros, I think, are 2-4 so far in spring training. But it's bunch of players that don't usually see playing time, so it's nice to see them get reps and things. But so we have spring training all full swing. Here we go. Kind of a fun thing for me. I am a BYU fan, if you did not know. They played Kansas in basketball this week, and they beat Kansas in Lawrence, I think is where it is, Lawrence. And just kind of some fun things, some interesting little statistics here. The BYU snaps Kansas 82-game home win streak when leading at halftime. Just the numbers that KU has at home is just insane. They also have here, during the head coach that they have, let's see, the Bill Self era, it's incredible what he has accomplished at KU, and BYU took them down, and it was pretty exciting to sit there and listen to that. Let's see. Let me pull up these stats just a second. So just kind of some fun things here. He is their head coach is 579 and 129 record in 20 seasons at KU. They have just a crazy home record. During this head coach, they're 305 and now 18. Prior to this article here, but 305 and 18 at home under this guy. That is just insane. But yes, BYU beat them 76-68 in Lawrence, Kansas. So that was pretty exciting. I was sitting there listening to it. I was obviously very excited about their win. Huge win. Their basketball team is doing really well, surprisingly enough. I always thought, we kind of thought that the football team would do fairly well, and it's just, they didn't quite do so well this year. But there's always next year, right? That's what everybody says. There's always next year. But, so just an exciting win there for BYU basketball. Just great to beat Kansas at home. So there's just great stuff going on. March Madness will be starting up here probably in a couple of weeks, and we'll get into that. I don't really pay attention because there's just so many teams, and just, I don't know. I'll pay attention to the tournament, kind of pick a winner, but I'm just blind picking because I don't know all the teams, because there's like 64 of them that come into this. But if you're a big March Madness person, that's awesome, because it's a lot to pay attention to. So yeah, so let's get into this stuff here. A little short sports stuff, because there's no real big sports. I guess there's the NBA and hockey going on, but you'll have to listen to another show for those things, because the NBA is just sad state. And I haven't paid attention in 30 years. So yeah. So let's get into some of this fun stuff here. Just saw here recently where the state of Illinois, some radical judge has decided to just take it upon him. I think it's a her. Man, I don't know what they identify as, but they've taken upon themselves to take Trump off the Illinois primary ballot, citing the 14th Amendment and the insurrection, even though Donald Trump has never been charged. He's never been convicted. There's nothing happened to him as far as any insurrection, and it wasn't an insurrection that happened on January 6th. It was a bunch of pissed off people that went there. Sure, some did some dumb things. Maybe a couple hundred did some dumb things. But as video evidence has shown, they seem to have been instigated on by federal agents and Capitol Police, shooting at them with rubber bullets and just different. There's all kinds of things. And it's interesting, to sit there and listen to like these leftists like, oh, January 6th, that was so awful. That was the worst day. Kamala Harris compares January 6th to Pearl Harbor and 9/11, when just a few years prior to that, in January of 2017, the Democrats and liberals, they decided to burn down D.C., destroying buildings and private cars, and they were, but apparently that doesn't matter. You have the summer of 2020 when they went around for, I don't know, what was it, like half the year destroying and burning cities all across this great nation. But no, that's okay. That was mostly peaceful protests. That famous CNN line, and a guy, the building was fully engulfed in flames right behind him. He's like, oh, it's just a mostly peaceful protest. So yeah, there's that. It's just insane. The left is always like, oh, we got to protect democracy. We got to protect democracy. First of all, America isn't a democracy. And if we're trying to protect it, you've got Colorado, you've got Maine, and now you have Illinois keeping a presidential candidate, trying to keep a presidential candidate off their ballot so you don't have a choice. That doesn't sound like, their supposed democracy, does it? No, that sounds like a complete takeover and dictatorship where you don't have a choice. So don't you just love it? The hypocrisy is just outstanding with these people. Come on. So the Supreme Court has taken up the case again with the Colorado, the case against Trump with Colorado and keeping him off the ballot. So I guess from what I have listened to and kind of read over, it'll be some time, I think, before that decision is made. But apparently that's, it's a win for the Trump team and, quite frankly, for freedom and our American democracy. So, so there's just a lot. And then there's the whole almost $400 million that the state of New York is charging Trump with. That's just absolutely ridiculous. That's just. I don't understand because they're the bank. They're not complaining about anything. They were fully paid back. Everything was fine. There's no victim here. To use that word, but there's no victim. There's no hurt party. It's just the fact that a leftist, Marxist, radicalized Attorney General of New York is going after Trump because it's Trump. That's the only reason they're just for this. And they got some douchebag judge who's like, oh, yeah, you know what? We're going to charge him $350 million for doing nothing wrong. And, other businesses are like scared out of their minds to do anything in New York with real estate because they're like, well, hey, I just saw this happen to Trump. But then you have, Kathy Hochul, the lovely governor over there, is like, oh, yeah, this is just for Trump. This is just for Trump. If you're a business and you're not Trump, yours is fine. Okay, so then you're just proving to everybody that this is all just political and you're just going after Trump because it's Trump. So that's the only reason you're doing any of this is because it's just Trump and you don't like him and you're trying to do everything you possibly can to keep him from the ballot in November. So yeah, thanks a lot there, Kathy Hochul, and that douchebag judge that had that stupid smile that you just want to slap off his face. But yeah, so there's just all kinds of fun stuff. Hunter Biden went and finally did his deposition in front of, behind closed doors with the House committees this week. So it's just fun stuff. And of course, everybody's whining about the fact that there's no money going to Ukraine and they're just suffering. And, Chuck Schumer, he went over to Ukraine and he came back and is, pleading that we have to make sure that we give them all kinds of money, and yet our border is wide open, and millions of illegals have just poured in over the last 3+ years of demented Joe's administration, presidency. So and they're committing the crimes that Americans just won't commit, aren't they? You have the story, the sad, tragic, horrible, awful story out of Athens, Georgia, where Laken Riley, a student there at the University of Georgia, was just on a jog, just trying to get some exercise. She wanted to be a nurse. She was going to school. She wanted to help people. And, one of Biden's illegals came across, killed her. And then, he'd been arrested before, but, there's nothing. They didn't do anything about that. They let him go. Didn't deport his butt. So an illegal alien killed Laken Riley. And, there's a quote here says that when I grow up, I want to be a nurse because it helps people get better and it looks fun to help people. That's who this scumbag illegal killed. And this is just one story of hundreds, if not thousands. There was another story, I forget which state, but we're all under attack. Maybe not Alaska. Maybe it's too cold. It's too far to get up there. I don't think they're going in there from Canada and Hawaii. You're isolated, thousands of miles out there in the ocean. So I don't think you're getting illegals out there. But I don't know. Maybe you are. Maybe these other states are getting just as many. They're getting illegals pouring across their borders as well. But there's another one who just, I guess they were fighting or something, and he shot and killed a toddler, 2-year-old. So, and there's just story after story of these scumbags pouring across our border, committing crimes, and then nothing happens. ICE isn't called because they're in these sanctuary cities and these sanctuary states. And, they're just, nothing happens to these people. They're just released. Everybody's seen the video of the illegals beating up the NYPD officers, and then there was no bail, nothing at all. They were just immediately released because who knows? I guess another douchebag judge is like, hey, just release them. It's okay. Just they're just committing the crimes Americans won't commit. Because we're always told that illegals are here to do the jobs Americans won't do. That's the famous marching line that, they're just here to pick our crops. They're just here because otherwise the crops are just going to rot in the ground. And, otherwise the bathrooms just won't get clean. And, you have all these idiots talking about how that, apparently the Americans are above it all and they just won't do some of these things. But it's lovely, isn't it? It's just fantastic. These people are just fantastic. So, yes, it's just absolutely tragic. Laken Riley would be alive if Joe Biden had secured the border in the first place and hadn't opened the borders to everybody and anyone who just decided they were like, hey, we're going to the United States, commit crimes. So it's awesome. It's fantastic. But yeah. So let's get into some of this other stuff here. Joe Biden decided to go on to the Seth Morgan. I don't know, one of those idiot late night show guys. I'm just kind of here. This is from Fox News's. I can't remember. Jesse Waters. A brain fart there. Biden, I can't remember. But this is kind of, it'll be kind of self-explanatory, so I just kind of want you to hear what happened.
Monologue, he said that Trump's so old, he forgot Melania's name.
Former President Trump told supporters last week that former First Lady Melania Trump will soon be making more regular appearances on the campaign trail. Not if she heard what you called her last week.
I call up my wife our great First Lady. She was a great first. People loved her. Yeah, people love her. Oh, look at that. Wow. Mercedes, that's pretty good.
I'm sorry. Mercedes? You had a nuclear meltdown when Biden messed up the president of Egypt and you can't remember your wife's name?
Now, the media went from I can barely keep up with Biden to, well, Trump's slow too. Except it's not true. Trump never forgot Melania's name. It's a hoax. He was referencing Mercedes Schlapp, the host of CPAC, whose audience was showing love to Melania. Everybody at CPAC knows who Mercedes Schlapp is. Even the Times debunked it. We called NBC, asked them why they peddled misinformation. They're ignoring us. So I'm sending Johnny across the street to break into 30 Rock. Best part, Biden plagiarized the hoax. Watch.
You mentioned some classified materials, some documents recently leaked, some classified documents. And this isn't a gotcha show, but I do want to ask about it, that says you are currently 81 years old.
Who the hell told you that?
Yeah.
That's classified.
That's classified. All jokes aside, according to recent polling, this is a real concern for America.
Sorry, hold on. So it's funny that he had classified documents in his house, and he bitched and whined that Trump had classified documents when he was the president, and it was okay for him to have classified documents. But as a senator and VP, you weren't supposed to have those. You douchebag.
American voters, how do you address that concern going forward as you come up to the 2024 election?
Well, a couple things. Number one, you got to take a look at the other guy. He's about as old as I am, but he can't remember his wife's name.
Oh, my
Biden's
gosh.
only punchline was a stolen hoax from Meyer's monologue. And then Biden forgot what year it was.
What's your 2024 agenda? Because I feel like we live in such crazy times that is one of the things I feel we hear less about.
Look, the 2020 agenda is to finish the job.
2020? What?
Seth Meyers, again, tried to ask him, why are you running?
I think it's about the future and everything, every single thing we've done. I think we've got some good things done.
Oh, sure.
Everything, and they told us we couldn't get them done because things were so divided. And but I think everything we've gotten done, he's just friendly stated he wants to do.
Painfully slow elderly man with a poor memory who struggles to remember things. Biden couldn't even answer what he's done and what he's going to do on a late night show. You see what happens without note cards?
So it's Seth Meyers, not Seth Morgan. It was Seth with an M, but that doesn't really matter. But, yeah. I mean, just on a daily basis, Biden can't remember what he's doing, where he's going, how to get off a stage, what to do when you're done with a speech. He has to have note cards everywhere he goes when he's talking to anybody, except for Seth Meyers here. Apparently, he didn't have any note cards here. He thought it was 2020. Oh, well, the 2020, and it's just. Seth Meyers is sitting there. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. But Trump, when he was looking, there's a video where Trump is at CPAC here, and he's talking about Melania, his wife, and then he's looking over at this Mercedes lady, and is talking to her. Everybody knows that. Everybody who's there, you see the video. He's looking around the room, and he looks over, and he sees this lady named Mercedes. And says, Mercedes, look at that. They're cheering for her, for his wife. He knows who the heck his wife is, there, doofus. So, yeah, then there's other videos of Biden and Seth out there getting ice cream. And, they're just chumming up. And, he won't go on a real show, He won't go on, anybody who's going to ask him hard questions because, he just can't. This guy can't. But, yeah. So, just great. Isn't it great? The United States of America under Biden is just fantastic and beautiful. So then I wanted to go over this clip by Matt Gaetz here. Hunter Biden, the president's cracked out son, finally came before them, and this is after the deposition there, and this is what Matt had to say.
I had to say that there were a number of interesting moments, but perhaps none more interesting than when Hunter Biden told us that he joined the Burisma board to counter Russian aggression. I hadn't heard that one before. That thank goodness we had Hunter Biden on the Burisma board because that was central to his strategy to stand up to Vladimir Putin. So, no, he's been responsive to questions.
Has he told you exactly what value he brought to any of these wars, any of these companies yet? Have you guys asked him that?
Yeah, we've asked those questions, and there is an illusory value. It is a mirage to believe that Hunter Biden was engaged in international business. This was a bribe masquerading as an international business transaction. Nothing more, nothing less.
Can we just quickly ask you?
Do you still feel the impeachment inquiry is heading in a direction where you'll actually be able to vote on articles of impeachment?
Well, here we're asking questions about these corrupt business practices. I'm not really framing that through the lens of next steps. I'm just trying to get the facts. I have to say, I thought it was a pretty strange statement. Either perhaps it jumps off the page when he says it in his own words.
Do you think has he said anything that would specifically implicate the president? Have we seen evidence that the president was involved in those business dealings yet?
I believe that you can actually bribe someone by paying their family members. Like, I don't get this construct that unless Joe Biden himself received cash, that he somehow wasn't involved in the bribery operation. Joe Biden was doing the bidding of Burisma. He was doing the bidding of Chinese communists, and his family was getting enriched as a consequence. To me, that's a pretty strong case for bribery.
Really quickly, I'm sure you've heard the news about Mitch McConnell.
So, yeah, sorry if you couldn't hear it very well, and I don't know what the heck they were doing with some kind of beeping. I don't know. But, yeah, so they've brought, he didn't bring anything to these companies. It's all just a quid pro quo. Just, hey, this is what we'll do for the U.S. policy, and, hey, you pay us a lot of money. That's what it is. Just lovely, isn't it? Lovely. So, yeah, it's just... Hopefully something will come of this. I really, really do. The optimist part of me really wants to see this guy in jail and his whole family. But what I've seen, what's going on elsewhere, and the pessimistic side of me is like, yeah, nothing's going to happen. It's going to be just, they're going to go through the motions of this, but eventually nothing will happen to this. But hopefully not. I really, really do. And, they're at the end there. Yeah, Mitch McConnell. Dang it. He's going to leave. He's retiring apparently at the in November. So, dang it. Darn it. That's too bad. Yeah, if you haven't heard, Mitch McConnell is going to be stepping down as the Senate Minority Leader come November. So, they'll have to pick somebody else. So, yeah. It's kind of a good thing, too, because he's a little old. And those couple of freezes that happened last year where he was just, looks like he was just stiff as a board. He couldn't open it. He didn't open his mouth. His mouth went shut. Yeah, he needs to go bye-bye as well. So hopefully we'll get some new leadership in the Senate come November. Gosh. I just started thinking about what happened, what'll happen this November if Biden is put back in or another Democrat is put back in, because finally the Democrats will say, you know what, Biden, sorry, you got too many issues here. Your son, yourself. Yeah, you can't speak, you can't walk, you can't do anything. Yeah, it's time for you to go. We're going to put you out to pasture and insert somebody else. So hopefully that doesn't happen. So that's why it's important to vote. That's why it's important to tell your friends and your neighbors and everybody around you to please go vote. Because it matters. It matters who you vote for. So I want to get into this other subject here, kind of something interesting that I've seen on social media here recently. Yeah, but you have what do they call the Gen Z generation? They're complaining that they can't afford anything and they can't buy a house, or they're living paycheck to paycheck and all this other kind of stuff. But I pulled up some statistics here of these are just the general presidential elections, and I'm sure the state and local elections followed suit on this. But for the 2020 election, the one we just had 4 years ago, it seems like it's been a lifetime ago since we've had money in our accounts, and Americans weren't under attack and we weren't being invaded. But so the 2020 election, there's some interesting numbers here, and then there's another aspect to this, not just the age thing, but the race. Because I want to get into an article here about Woodrow Wilson and how horrible he was. He was the president during World War I. He was just an horrific racist president. But so I want to get into that here as well. But just the age part of this. So the 2020 election, from the 18 to 29-year-olds, 60% of them voted for Biden. The 30 to 44-year-olds, 52% of them voted for Biden, right? So 45 and up, it was to Trump. The higher percentages were to Trump with those ages. Then the race thing, I don't understand. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. For sex, for men and women, the only two genders, the only two sexes in the entire world, in our universe. This is kind of interesting, just a little side note here, but 53-45 in favor of Trump with men and 57-42 for Biden against Trump with women. That's interesting. So it's all the women's fault. Oh, just kidding. But, interesting. So the whites, 58-41 in favor of Trump. But then you have the blacks here, 87-12 in favor of Biden. I don't understand that. What has the Democrat Party done for the black community besides destroy the black family, for one thing, They're the ones that were fighting against the civil rights movement since forever. I mean, the Republican Party came about as the anti-slavery party, but they're the Republicans are the big racists. All those Jim Crow laws. The Democrats, they were the ones fighting to keep the slaves. I just don't understand it. And then, here, like I say, here coming up here in a minute, I've got, this nice little article here about Woodrow Wilson and what a racist he was. So I don't understand. And the Hispanic vote is 65-32 in favor of Biden, Asian 61-34. So I thought Asians were supposed to be smart. Apparently, but just some interesting things there for that election. Then you go back to the 2016 election, and some of the numbers are pretty much the same. You have 18 to 29-year-olds, 55 to 36 in favor of Hillary the Witch Clinton. 30 to 44 is a little bit closer, 51-44. But then once you get 45 and older, it flips. It's just because people, I guess as people just grow up and they realize, hey, stuff costs money. It sucks. I don't want to pay higher taxes. And I was living in a bubble during those first, 44 years. And then I finally woke up. Is that what's happening here with these people? But, even... And this, for the genders, the only two genders, 52-41 for males, 54-41 for Clinton with women. And then you have for whites, it's 57-37 in favor of Trump. And then again, the blacks, it's 89-8. I don't get it. It doesn't. For Hispanics and Asians, it's kind of the same, 66-28 and 65-27 percentages for Clinton. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And with the way things are going right now with Biden, those leads, I bet will change. The Hispanic vote will probably go red, hopefully. Even the black vote, I've seen videos and just talking with people, they are sick and tired of it, and hopefully they vote red. There's this rumor, or maybe just being optimistic, but maybe New York will go red. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be so just fantastic if New York City went, or maybe not the city, but the state of New York went red? Holy crap. And then you have the election prior to that, 2012, with Obama and Mitt Romney, where it's much of the same. 18 to 29-year-olds, 60 to 37 in favor of Obama, 30 to 44-year-olds, 52 to 45, and then again it flips from 45 and on. And same thing with men and women. The race is, this was just 93 to 6 in favor of Obama by blacks, but so it's just the same thing over and over with McCain and Obama. 2008, 18 to 29-year-olds, 66 to 32, and then it's 52 to 46 for 30 and 44-year-olds. And then 45, it kind of flips. 45 years and older, it flips. Yeah, sexes are the same. Actually, Obama got more male votes than McCain did. Interesting, 49% to 48. So just interesting, some interesting statistics here, I think. And again, the black vote, 95 to 4. 95% to 4%. Again, what? To the black community, what the crap have Democrats done to make you so loyal to them? I don't understand that. It just baffles my mind. I don't understand why there's so hardcore loyalty to these people that have destroyed your cities, destroyed your communities, destroyed your families. I just don't understand it. Somebody let me know if you listen, when you listen to the show, just please let me know and kind of explain the situation, because it doesn't make any sense to me. It just does not make any sense as to why blacks continue to vote for Democrats who don't do anything. I mean, it's like the millions of dollars that got poured into BLM, and then come to find out, oh yeah, they spent all that money on their own personal mansions and houses and vacations. And I saw one that spent it on like drugs and hookers. So it's just, what are they doing for you? Nothing. I mean, the inner cities, the cities that are run by Democrats, they look like garbage. They look like garbage bags. In fact, there's just garbage everywhere. Garbage cans, garbage dump. There we go. That's what I was kind of looking for, not a garbage bag. So, I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me why there's such loyalty to Democrats when they don't do anything but destroy your lives and make things cost more. That just baffles my mind. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So yes. So the videos that I've seen online where these kids are complaining, the Gen Zs are complaining, they want to blame their parents, they want to blame their grandparents, when in fact it's kind of your fault. It's kind of your fault because you continue to vote for these idiots that make everything cost more. So how about you stop voting for them? Stop listening to your whacked out professors and stop voting for them. How about you do that? Why don't you try that one on for size and see how that fits? But, so the article that I wanted to, technology, it's great when it works. But, all right, so the article is from history.com. And let me pull it up here. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Close. Oh, here we go. So, how Woodrow Wilson, the article is titled, How Woodrow Wilson, there you go, tried to reverse Black American progress by promoting the Ku Klux Klan and overseeing segregation of the federal workforce. The 20th president helped erase gains African Americans had made since Reconstruction. Reconstruction being after the Civil War. Woodrow Wilson is best known as the World War I president who earned a Nobel Peace Prize. Oh, Obama's got one of those, so apparently they don't mean anything. They didn't mean anything then either. For his efforts to found the League of Nations. Yeah, what a great organization that was. The progressive reformer who fought against monopolies and child labor. Oh, okay, so he's got a couple of good things, maybe. He served 2 terms starting in 1913, but Wilson was also a segregationist. How surprise, a Democrat? No. Who wrote a history textbook praising the Confederacy and in particular the Ku Klux Klan. As president, he rolled back hard-fought economic progress for Black Americans, overseeing the segregation of multiple agencies of the federal government. While Wilson was lauded for his role in World War I, historians and activists have long called attention to his other actions, and institutions have grappled with how to respond to this side of his legacy. In June 2020, Monmouth University announced it would rename its Woodrow Wilson Hall after years of protests. Princeton University said it would remove his name from its prestigious public policy school, explaining that his segregationist attitudes and policies made Wilson an especially inappropriate namesake. No, not the guy that sat there and praised the KKK, which was founded by, what do you know, Democrats. So, Yeah. All right. In places like Washington, D.C., historians and parents have called for removing his name from public high schools. I would agree with that. In reevaluating Wilson's legacy, it's important to understand not only his leadership through a world war or his business and labor reforms, it's also important to know on the home front he perpetuated violence and inequality for Black Americans. Oh, but the the left will praise this guy. Here's how, okay? Here is how. That reminds me of another guy that perpetuated violence. That his name was Obama. That BLM was founded and came to be under Obama when everything was racist. He screamed racist, racist, racist. Everything that he said. If you didn't agree with him, you were a racist. Quite frankly, if you don't agree with anything that a leftist or a Democrat says, then they label you as a racist. I've had many conversations like this, and then I point out, what did I say that was racist? And they can never come up with anything. So Wilson is often associated with the state of New Jersey because that's where he served as governor and as president of Princeton University. But he was born in antebellum Virginia in 1856. Okay, he lived. Let's get down. Wilson wrote the Reconstruction placed Southern white men under the intolerable burden of governments sustained by the votes of ignorant Negroes. And that those white men responded by forming the KKK, Ku Klux Klan, he described, and the Klan as an invisible empire of the South bound together in loose organization to protect the Southern country from some of the ugliest hazards of a time of revolution. Jeez. This guy's a scumbag. Let's see. So segregating the federal government. Wilson's views on race also informed his time in the Oval Office, while he campaigned and legislated as a progressive who fought to break up big business and improve the plight of American workers. His administration squelched opportunity and worsened conditions for some Black Americans in the workforce. After Reconstruction ended in the 1870s, Southern white men began erasing Reconstruction reforms by using laws, violence, and intimidation to prevent Black men from voting. Oh, well, that's interesting. The left is always pushing that Republicans are trying to do those things, but they're not. And pushing them out of local and state governments. Within the federal government, things were different. Black men began working in the federal government during the Civil War, and by the turn of the century, Black men and women made up 10% of the workforce. When Wilson entered office in 1913, he was the first Southerner to be president since Reconstruction. His cabinet included several white Southerners who really had no idea how integrated the federal service was, how unsegregated Washington, D.C. was, says Eric S. Yeldian, professor of history and American studies at the University of Richmond and author of Racism in the Nation's Service, Government Workers, and The Color Line in Woodrow Wilson's America. And when they arrived, some of them are really in shock. So, yeah, he was just... So then it goes on to say, later the cabinet members began to talk about segregating federal government employees by race. Wilson allowed his cabinet to do this despite protests by Civil War activists. But this is the left for you. This is the Democrats for you here. Still today, and if, Biden famously said, if you can't decide whether you're going to vote for me or Trump, well, then you ain't black. Okay. So I just don't understand what the loyalty is to these people when they founded the KKK. They have made laws to segregate people, and they have fought against every civil rights movement in the history of the nation. From the 1860s to the 1960s, they have fought everything. But once they figured out they had their buddies in the media, they decided, hey, you know what? We're going to tell everybody that it's switched. And so that the Republicans, really, who was the party that was founded on anti-slavery and getting rid of slavery, yeah, we're going to tell everybody that they are the racists. They are the ones that are doing all these horrible things to you. And then for whatever reason, these people believe them. I don't. It just baffles my mind why there's such loyalty to these people when it's clear they are actively trying to destroy this very nation. If you don't believe me, go watch the news. So I don't understand. I don't understand, these people complain about how awful things are, and then they continue to vote for these despicable, disgusting, evil people into office, and then complain that other people are the problems. So, yeah. And then you have all these other people that are sitting there complaining about, they whine and complain and sit there and talk about how there needs to be a ceasefire for Israel and how awful Israel is. So I just wanted to play some words here from Benjamin Netanyahu just to kind of put things into a little better perspective. So here's what he says.
What would America do? Yeah. What would America do, Margaret, if you faced the equivalent of 29/11s, 50,000 Americans slaughtered in one day, 10,000 Americans, including mothers and children, held hostage? Would you not be doing what Israel is doing? You'd be doing a hell of a lot more. And all Americans that I talk to, nearly all say that. So Israel has gone to extraordinary lengths, calling up people, civilians, Palestinians in Gaza, telling them, leave your home. Sending pamphlets. We have done that effort. Hamas tries to keep them at gunpoint. We'll clear them out of harm's way. We'll complete the job and achieve total victory, which is necessary to give a secure future for Israel, a better future for Gaza, a better future for the Middle East, and a setback for the Iran terror axis. That's in all our interest. It's in America's interest, too.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine, those of you that are old enough to remember 9/11, could you imagine if somebody out, if there was countries out there, if there were people out there screaming that, we needed to have a ceasefire after that? You know what America would have said if people were saying that thing? Yeah, you can go to hell. That's what we would have said. But they didn't say that because what they, it just baffles my mind. It just baffles my mind. Because you have this Air Force active serviceman, the guy named Aaron Bushnell, who decided to self-immolate in front of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C., and then a couple days later, he died because of it. I wanted to watch the video. I would not, if you have a weak stomach, I would not recommend it if you can't handle it. But plus, it's just kind of disturbing. But I wanted to see it, so I saw it, and I just want to know. I mean, it's just tragic that this guy decided, hey, I'm going to light myself on fire as a form of protest. I mean, what is it going to do? What did that do besides your family lost a son, your friends lost a friend, and now you're just gone, By next week, by next month, no one's going to be talking about it. I guarantee it. No one's going to be talking about it. In fact, I don't think I've seen anything here recently with the news on that at all, except for like a mention maybe once. So it's like these city councils like San Francisco, there's some other ones that have decided, hey, there's going to be a ceasefire. It's not going to do anything. Nothing's going to happen because Israel was attacked first. And these people just decide, hey, you know what? We're going to go kill a bunch of Israelis because we don't like them. So I don't understand how you could sit there and be like, hey, I'm going to go light myself on fire, screaming free Palestine, and I mean, what do you expect? What do you expect is going to happen? You know, it's just tragic that this guy was so radicalized by the leftist whack jobs out there that, you know, because I read an article where he said that he knew he was white and he knew he was privileged. So he believed the whole lie that the leftist media is telling you, that if you're white, you're privileged. If you're, you know, especially, you know, if you're an American and you're a white Christian, you are privileged, and then you need to sit down and listen to what we have to say. And if you don't agree with what we have to say, you're going to be called all kinds of horrible, stupid names. So I just don't understand what that is going to do that to yourself and to support this. I mean, there was peace October 6th and prior to that. October 6th and prior, there was peace until Hamas, who is supported by the Palestinians, decided to go in and brutally slaughter 1,200 Israelis. So I don't understand how these people are so deluded and delusional to think that was okay. I mean, you know, it's not the same thing, but I don't understand the loyalty to the Democrat Party for the minority races. I don't understand that either. I mean, they've done nothing but destroy your lives, destroy your families, destroy your homes, destroy your communities, destroy your states. I don't understand it. You know, look at any Democrat-run city, and it is a garbage dump. New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, parts of Dallas. You know, I just don't understand it. But I really do think people are waking up to the realization that they're not your friends. I mean, you'll still have the diehard Democrats that believe, oh yeah, Trump's evil. He's an evil racist rapist that committed fraud and he deserves to be in jail and blah 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 blah. When in fact the evidence points the other direction. So I don't know. I don't understand it. But we must go on. That's why I do this show. To hopefully wake people up to the realization that the truth is out there, and you need to turn off the mainstream, or they're not mainstream anymore, the fake news media, and listen to shows like this, The Caden Eric Show. Yes, you should listen to this show. Pass it on to your friends, to your family, and we'll continue to get the word out there. The support is amazing. It's great. I love it. So, yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed the show today. Hopefully you have a great weekend. Hopefully there's not too cold. It was like 90 degrees here on Monday, and then it was like 40 yesterday. So we have some bipolar weather here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But that's Texas weather for you. You never quite know during the spring or the winter what you're going to get. You know, like Forrest Gump. Life's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So, yeah, that's Texas weather for you. So hopefully you have a great weekend, and we'll have more fun and exciting things come next week. So we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.